You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
Welcome in. If you're a founder right now, I guarantee your feed probably feels like you're standing in a hurricane of money, data, and competing business philosophies.
It's a lot.
It is. It's exhilarating and, exhausting all at once. Our goal today is to cut through that deluge.
Find the signals.
Exactly. Find the core signals that really matter for execution and growth, and that focus on decoding how technology shapes leadership for founders. Well, that's really why we do what we do here at Vocal Technologist.
That's right. So today our mission is to give you that signal. We're looking at the foundational playbook shifts, what's working, what's not, and frankly, where the massive capital is flowing right now.
Okay, so how are we breaking this down?
We've synthesized it into 3 core areas. First, we'll talk about the current flow of capital and market maturation.
The money.
The money. Then the strategic pivot from pure speed to, resilience. And finally, some hands-on tools and tactics founders need right now.
Okay, let's jump straight into the money then. The sheer size of some of these recent raises should tell you that investors are not cooling off, not on the AI infrastructure layer.
No, it's pure conviction, even with the broader market being cautious.
Right. I mean, we're seeing firms place huge bets on future form factors. Look at Sesame, a conversational AI startup founded by Oculus alumni. They just hauled in a staggering, $250 million for their Series B.
$250 million to embed AI agents into smart glasses using a natural voice interface.
And then there's LangChain. They provide the tooling for these agents, and they just raised $125 million at a $1.25 billion valuation.
So the money isn't just going to the models, it's the picks and shovels, the whole agent ecosystem.
Exactly.
And this is where the context gets, I think, really interesting. While those huge AI numbers grab the headlines, the broader early-stage VC world is demanding specialization and discipline.
How so?
Well, take Box Group. They raised $550 million across 2 new funds, but they're focusing on early-stage and follow-on investments.
So they're committing to the whole life cycle.
The whole journey. And you see even more niche funds showing where the deep conviction is. Boost VC just launched an $87 million fund for deep tech.
So we're talking, the really hard stuff.
The really hard stuff. Nuclear energy, genetics, space travel. And if you connect this to historical data, it all makes sense. The best returns from a firm like Andreessen Horowitz, they weren't from the recent boom.
No.
They were driven by pre-2015 vintages and those early crypto funds. So today's massive bets are built on discipline, learn from yesterday's successful long-tail gambles.
That reframes the current frenzy completely. It's not just about spending big. It's about specialized discipline spending.
Precisely.
And speaking of discipline, let's talk about the quiet execution war that's happening. Everyone focuses on OpenAI, but the intelligence we've seen highlights Anthropic's explosive, almost silent rise.
It's incredible. They've gone from a $1 billion run rate to nearly $7 billion this year.
A 6-fold jump. And what stands out to me is how they're winning. They're avoiding the whole consumer top-of-funnel race.
Totally. It's all API-driven. They're locking in high-value enterprise integration.
And so they're prioritizing depth and stability.
And that's the key analytical nugget. It confirms the market maturation we're seeing everywhere. We are officially past the gold rush phase.
The gold rush is over.
It is. The data shows that paid AI adoption is dipping slightly, but, and this is the key part, the retention rate for those who commit is rising dramatically.
How much?
It's jumped from 60% to 80%.
Wow.
Which means companies aren't buying less, they're buying smarter. The market has moved from panic buying every shiny tool to investing only in products that prove lasting, repeatable value.
So the bar for a successful AI product has officially been raised.
Absolutely.
And that insight that the market is now demanding durable value, that has to force a major strategic reckoning for founders, right? For years, it was either lean startup or blitzscaling.
And when the AI capital flowed, blitzscaling won. Speed above all else.
But if the market is buying smarter, doesn't that make pure speed a liability? It feels like the original lean startup philosophy is making a profound comeback.
It is, because the very definition of product market fit has changed.
How do you mean?
It's no longer a static goal you hit once. The underlying AI models are always drifting, the data is updating, so the product itself is a moving target.
So you have to be constantly reestablishing PMF in real time.
Exactly. And that means more engineers need to be engaging directly with customers, not just isolated in the code.
And that reality just It throws cold water on that whole idea that momentum is the only moat that matters.
Oh, that narrative, the one that says you have to hit 2 million ARR in 10 days or you're a failure.
Yeah, it's a race to burn cash for a vanity metric.
And that mindset is actually quite dangerous. It discounts fantastic, sustainable business outcomes. Consider Wealthfront. It took them 17 years to hit over $300 million in revenue and $123 million in profit.
Which is an objectively superb business. Profitable, resilient.
But under that pure momentum lens, that journey would be deemed a failure because it wasn't a triple-digit year-over-year explosion.
And momentum attracts competition.
It's like blood in the water. These hot categories are now saturated. You've got 5 companies all desperately racing to 100 million ARR while burning unsustainable amounts of capital on compute.
So sustainable growth is actually the rebellious counter strategy today.
It is.
I couldn't agree more. And that strategic pivot towards resilience. It reminds me of that anecdote about the investor Pageman Nozad.
The yogurt shop story.
Yes. His 32-year journey started with him living above a yogurt shop. He frames that early hardship as the thing that created resourcefulness and empathy.
Yeah.
The exact resilience you need.
And that focus on operational resilience brings us directly to prioritization.
Right. Getting the right work done.
Most teams treat it like a messy to-do list problem, but it's fundamentally a strategy problem.
So it's not just about what's urgent.
Not at all. The real work for a founder is mapping the forces at play. Which activities protect or increase revenue? Which ones reduce or protect cost? Once you map those, prioritization stops being about moving tasks around.
And starts being about identifying where the actual leverage is.
That's it, where the power exists in your business.
And when you prioritize, you have to be brutal about your metrics. I mean, companies track thousands of numbers.
But the data is clear. Only about 100 metrics explain 90% of what's happening.
So the power is in breaking the business down into, like, fundamental equations.
Growth, engagement, revenue. You have to find the 3 or 4 levers you should be pulling daily.
Speaking of maximizing growth with minimal spend, how about this for a case study? Fluently. They scaled from, what, 48,000 to 5 million ARR in a year with $0 spent on advertising.
That sounds like a founder's fantasy.
It does. How did they pull that off without spending a dime?
They treated content creation like a continuous data experiment, not a creative gamble.
Okay.
They used short-form video, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, and posted 2 to 3 videos daily through small creators.
So high volume.
High volume, but also high measurement. They rigorously studied which hooks converted and just remade the top performers. And crucially, every single post was tracked using UTM links.
Those little custom codes on a URL.
Right, so they could trace a customer from a specific video view all the way through to revenue. Consistency and measurement replaced a massive ad budget.
That combination of measurement and iteration is so key, especially when you look at where companies are still losing money because of friction.
Like at the checkout.
Exactly. The research shows SaaS companies are consistently lagging at checkout, leaving billions on the table because of unnecessary friction.
And that's despite 98% of them selling online.
So what is that friction? What's the hurdle?
It often boils down to a psychological hurdle. It's known as the omission bias.
Omission bias?
Yeah. We judge harmful actions, like making a purchase that backfires more harshly than harmful inactions, like choosing not to buy.
So buying feels risky because action carries blame.
Exactly. Smart companies flip this script. They counteract the bias by clearly showing the cost of not acting.
The lost ROI, the price going out.
It's opportunity cost, yeah. They make spending feel like the safer, more rational move.
Let's pivot now to the human side of this. Building and managing the team for this kind of resilient scaling.
The people challenge.
Let's start with compensation. Founders often overcomplicate this in the early stages.
They really do.
The core advice is so simple. Define your philosophy. First, cash versus equity, transparency, and then make the system simple enough for anyone to understand in 5 minutes.
And, critically, keep the cap table clean. A clear guideline is to keep your first 10 hires collectively under 10% of the total equity pool.
You just need that running room for future growth.
For future fundraising, for those key hires you didn't anticipate needing, it's crucial.
And beyond just hiring, scaling a reliable AI product that introduces its own unique operational challenges, right?
Absolutely. You can't just rely on clever prompts anymore. You need continuous testing systems called evils.
Evils. So that's like engineering-grade quality control for AI.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Companies like Notion, Ramp, Stripe They all use them. They log real user input, compare the model's output against the expected correct answer, and continuously tune the models when the output drifts.
Because if thousands of users are interacting with your model, a small mistake multiplies instantly.
Instantly, you need that automated constant validation.
And that focus on systems is paramount, because founders should be, well, pretty cautious about some of the AI claims out there. We saw a study claiming AI could mimic customer purchase intent with 90% accuracy. That's impressive on paper, but...
But you're worried it's just mirroring how people talk about buying.
Exactly. It's not accounting for the actual human risk and emotion involved in pulling the trigger.
You've hit on the critical differentiator. Real purchasing decisions are emotional. They involve risk tolerance, human context that data alone just can't capture.
So the competitive advantage is still in understanding those human factors.
It has to be, not in chasing a data set that claims perfect predictability.
Right.
And finally, that focus on human context has to extend to the governance of AI itself. This is a structural risk that can become a massive operational failure.
What do you mean by that?
A review of 140 AI companies in California found a really concerning lack of diversity in governance. Women occupy only 15% of board seats.
15%.
And 43% of those companies have 0 women on their boards. So if the teams building and governing this powerful new technology don't reflect the diverse users they serve, the operational blind spots and biases in the products will just inevitably increase.
That is a stark final point to bring it all back home for the founders listening.
Yeah.
The game has changed.
It really has.
Capital is flowing, fueling massive players like Anthropic and specialized areas like deep tech. But the winners in this new era, they're not just the fastest, they're the most strategic. They're combining speed like Fluently's rapid, data-driven iteration with real strategic depth, embracing lean principles, mastering prioritization.
Exactly. The tendency is always to romanticize novelty and speed. We're always looking for the newest shortcut.
Right.
But as we've seen today, the deepest, most successful progress comes from compounding small, repeatable motions and from building products people actually love to use because they solve a durable problem, not just chasing the fastest path to triple-digit growth.
That is the final question for everyone to think about.
I think we have to ask ourselves, what simple, repeatable motion are you ignoring today just because it feels too slow?
Something to truly mull over as you plan the week ahead. Thank you for joining us for this intense exploration of the shifting founder playbook. We'll be back soon with more insights into what truly matters in tech and leadership.
Spoken Tech, for your ears.